Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carolinian learners. Airing live from the Mango Bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning in to CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.
Class, this is teacher Analyn, and today we are going to start with our new subject, which is reading and writing skills for the second semester. Last semester, you had oral communication in context where you improved your speaking and listening skills. This second semester, we are going to focus on improving your reading and writing skills. Are you excited for this exciting journey? Today, we are going to discuss patterns of development in writing across disciplines. How many patterns of writing development do you know? Based on my references, there are about 9 patterns, and since the lesson is quite long, we are going to discuss the first 4 patterns today. And here are our lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to determine the patterns of development in writing across disciplines, distinguish between and among patterns of development in writing across disciplines, and write a paragraph based on the assigned topic using the given patterns of development. Before heading on to our lesson, let's check first what you already know about the lesson by answering these fun and easy activities. The first activity is jumble word. You are going to arrange the letters to form words related to the lesson, and you also have to use the clues provided in order to answer the activity. So let's start. Number 1. This method of paragraph development explains a concept, term, or subject. Its main purpose is to tell what something is. Can you guess the word? Correct. That is definition. How about the second? Number 2. It is a method of writing a paragraph by drawing pictures with words. What do you think is the correct answer? Exactly. That is description. Number 3. This gives a written account of an event or a story. What is the correct answer? Excellent. That is narration. Number 4. This is a collection of related sentences with one central idea. I know you know the answer. That is paragraph. And the last one, it groups items into categories to establish clear distinction between related or similar ideas. What is the correct answer? Yes, you got it right. That is classification. Let's move to another activity. This diagram describes distinguishing characteristics of the different patterns of development. We are going to identify the descriptions from the diagram. The first description, it relates a story. What do you think is the pattern? Correct. That is narration. How about in number 2? It uses adjectives and descriptive words. What do you think is the correct answer? Exactly. That is description. How about in number 3? Let's give it a try. Gives meaning to a term. What is that pattern? You got it right. That is definition. And the last one, sorts, places subjects or things into categories. What is that? Very good. That is classification. Before we move to the next topic, let us first answer this essential question. When beginning to write, Why is it helpful to determine the patterns of development? Why is it important to know all of these patterns? Analyzing a text is easier if you can identify its parts, structure, and organization. This is often referred to as its writing pattern. A writing pattern is a specific way that the writer used in organizing his thoughts and ideas to convey a specific point of argument. Recognizing this pattern is very important in order for you to improve your reading comprehension skills. By recognizing this pattern, you will be able to focus your attention on what the author is trying to say and anticipate how would the author develop a point. But what is this pattern of writing development? A pattern of development in writing refers to the strategy writers use to develop ideas. Whether you are aware of it or not, you actually use these patterns to express yourself. For example, when you try to describe how your roommates look like when she gets up in the morning, you are actually using description. And when you tell a story about your first date, you are actually using narration. And when you describe or give the classifications, categories, or types of a certain thing, you are using classification. And when you define concepts in sciences, business, and humanities, you are using definition. Learning to use these patterns would help you improve your reading comprehension skills. It is not actually really difficult. You just have to be familiar with the different key transitional expressions used because they send signal to the reader that a certain pattern is being used. And there are various methods or techniques in paragraph development. We will be exploring them one by one. So let's get the ball rolling. Our first pattern is narration. This paragraph follows a chronological order of writing. It uses transition words to maintain coherence and to show movement. In telling a story, it employs verbs and adverbs and phrases to indicate time to make the story more engaging to the readers. And when you write a narrative paragraph, you have to consider these guide questions. What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? And it also uses these transitional devices or expressions. We have first, then, soon, after, suddenly, and a lot more. Here is an example of a narrative paragraph. Can you spot the transitional devices used or the signal words? So we can see there, one day, then, suddenly, and after that. So these are the key transitional devices used in developing this narrative paragraph. Let's move to the next pattern, description. It gives information of what a person, an object, a place, or a situation is like. It appeals to the reader's senses. It should have concrete and specific details. Details pertaining to the physical attributes such as how the subject looks, smells, feels, touch, or even tastes like are the ingredients of this method of development. Observation should be really specific in order to encourage imaginative thinking. Before writing a descriptive paragraph, you may consider these guide questions. What does it look like? What are its characteristics? It uses transitional devices that include sensory language, which invokes the reader's senses. And here is a word bank of sensory words, which you can always refer to whenever you want to add descriptive details to your paragraph. This is an example of a descriptive paragraph. Actually, you've learned this one in your Science 10 about volcanic eruptions. Okay, so fresh volcanic ash made of pulverized rock can be harsh, acidic, gritty, glassy, and smelly. The ash can cause damage to the lungs of older people, babies, and people with respiratory problems. Can you spot the descriptive details? I know you can do it. So we have fresh, volcanic, pulverized, harsh, acidic, gritty, glassy, smelly, older. Okay, so that's it. Those are the descriptive details used in the paragraph. Our third pattern is definition. It explains a concept, a term, or subject. Its main purpose is to tell what something is. It explains what a term means. A paragraph using this pattern can define terms in different ways. You can define by characteristics, by functions, what it is not, or what it is like, such as origins and effect. It can be scientific or subjective. When we say scientific definition defines a concept in the most factual way, while for subjective definition, it defines a concept in a more personal way, usually based on the writer's opinion and experiences. Last Monday, we just celebrated Valentine's Day. So when you ask teenagers now, what is love? So most students probably, or most teenagers would answer, love is a deep feeling, or is an intense feeling of deep affection. When they say that, when they define love that way, they are giving the scientific definition. But when teenagers would answer, love is like a rosary that is full of mystery, well, they are giving the subjective definition. So definition pattern is commonly used in business, sciences, and in humanities. You may consider these guide questions when you write a definition paragraph. What is it? How does it resemble other members of its class? How does it differ from other members of its class? What are its limits? Transitional devices or expressions include is defined as means, refers to define, to illustrate. And this is an example of a definition paragraph. Did you learn cell in your biology class? Of course, yes. So you know what is this one. So can you spot what is the signal word used here? I can hear you. So you're correct. That is refers to. And another thing, to illustrate. So those are the signal words used in this paragraph. We are heading on to our last pattern for today. Are you still there? Okay, so we have classification. A single subject is targeted and broken down into components. Classification paragraphs group items into categories to establish a clear distinction between related or similar ideas. In classifications, items are grouped together based on the common features they share. You may consider these guide questions in writing a classification paragraph. What are its categories or classifications? What are its types? And you can also use these transitional devices or expression. Can be divided, can be categorized, can be classified. The first, second, third type, and a lot more. This is an example of a classification paragraph. For those who are enrolled in STEM class, I know you know this one. You love calculus, okay? Calculus is the mathematics of change and motion. There are two types, differential calculus, finding the rate of change of a function, and integral calculus, finding the function when its rate of change is given. Since the paragraph is short, there is only one signal word used in this. Can you identify this? Yes, types. Okay? Now you have the hang of it. Let's now apply what you have learned from the lesson by answering these exercises. The first is understand text patterns. Determine which pattern of written text is best for the following topics. You may write your answers on your answer sheets. Are you ready? Okay, number 1. What pattern is best to use when you write about the types of classmates you have? What is your answer? Very good. Classification. You will be using the classification pattern. How about when you tell us about your happiest day? What pattern are you going to use? If you answered narration, then you got it right. How about when you define the word petrichor? As the word suggests, define. So what pattern are you going to use? Yes, you are going to use definition. How about when you state what you saw, heard, tasted, smelled, and felt the last time someone cooked at home? What pattern are you going to use? Okay, you are going to use description. What pattern are you going to use when you want to share a moment? When you felt alone and scared. What pattern are you going to use? Well, you will be using narration. How about the second exercise? Read each item carefully and answer the following question. Write the letter that corresponds to the correct answer on your answer sheets. Which of the following patterns uses action words that move the story? A. Description. B. Classification. C. Narration. And D. Definition. If you answered narration, then you got it right. How about number 2? This pattern provides details on the idea by using a sensory or spatial pattern. Is it A. Description, B. Classification, C. Narration, D. Definition? What is your answer? Well, the correct answer is A. Description. Number 3. It refers to words that send a signal to the readers, leading them to identify each development pattern. Is it A. Adverbs, B. Linking verbs, C. Static words, D. Transitional expressions? What is the correct answer? Yes, that is transitional expressions. How about number 4? It groups items into categories to establish a clear distinction. Is it A. Description, B. Classification, C. Narration, D. Description? What is the answer? Correct. The answer is classification. And the last one we have number 5. This is an artistic way of describing things, mostly from the eye and perspective of the writer. A. Description, B. Classification, C. Narration, or D. Definition? You got it right. That is letter A, description.
Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carlinian learners. Airing live from the mango bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning into CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.
Well done, senior high school learners. This time, I'll give you another challenge to further enhance your skills. We will be having differentiated activities. I know that you are all unique in your own ways and that you are all gifted, talented, and capable. So you're going to choose one activity based on your talents, giftedness, and abilities. But since we don't have much time, you are going to submit your outputs at the end of the week to your teacher. Okay, choose one activity based on your talents, giftedness, and abilities. If you are word smart, or a verbal linguistic, you're going to write a classification paragraph about the topic, how Filipinos cope with COVID-19 pandemic. You are going to use transitional devices which signal classification. If you are visual, spatial, or picture smart, you're going to inspire a smile for your mom with a personalized do-it-yourself card. Inside the card, write a paragraph about the word mother by using the definition method. Expand it by description or giving examples. And if you are musical or music smart, look for descriptive text examples found in many songs, since songs are meant to capture your emotions and to invoke a feeling. Then you're going to sing the song and send the video to your teacher. Congratulations, senior high school learners. You really did a good job. When you are asked to write, actually writing is not really difficult, okay? When you find difficulty in writing, remember the words from E.L. Doctorow saying, writing is an exploration. You start from nothing and you learn as you go. Indeed, writing is a very crucial skill that you should learn in order to communicate properly, okay? Whether it be in humanities, business, and sciences. Writing, when you try to write, you have to identify which pattern is best to use. Again, this is teacher Analyn. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you again next time. Good luck in your next adventure.
Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carlinian learners. Airing live from the mango bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning into CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.